Well, I mean, when you're presented with a beautiful, incredible, strong finisher, you gotta grab it. Behemoth is probably a close second here, but that's maybe the easiest rare draft I've ever had. Dervish is a great follow-up. Maneuver's pretty good too. Eviscerate's solid. All contenders, I would say, but it's got to be Dervish here. It keeps us in fire. A Maneuver's certainly in the conversation, but I just think Dervish is so good. Hey, what's going on, Gibbon? How you doing tonight? Hope you are doing well, my friend. Yeah, we are hitting up the fire. Maybe not Quake Titan. That seems like an easier rare to be passing on. We have a Devotee that seems reasonable. Maybe I'm just too high on Roosty Moorhawk. I do very much like the card. High Alert is fantastic, which maybe is probably a better card to be going into Justice for. We also have Militiaman, which is pretty solid as shift units go. It can certainly run away with things in board stally type situations. Can make blocking and attacking awkward for opponents. Blink is not super interesting at this early stage. Paladin's nice if we were trying to onslaught, which I don't really know if we're doing that yet. Kind of leaning High Alert, but I wouldn't be mad about Warhawk or even Lookout, honestly. Just like, is Quake Titan any good? Pretty good, still at work, but lurking? Nice. Well, glad to have you, my man. I think we're gonna go High Alert over the rest of the things. I just don't think Quake Titan's good. Yeah, we're gonna go High Alert. Curator, Granite Coin, Insignia. Or Horn of Plenty, but we should probably just grab this Horn here. If Horn got this far, tells me that time is at least decently open. There's a rare, a uncommon, and a common gone here, so I feel like Horn's probably a good indicator that time is open. The only other thing that's really appealing is Coin, which seems silly to be picking this early. And we certainly can play 3 colors in this format, so we'll grab the Horn for sure. Blurry Chaser is a great Fire 2-drop. Erictodon is a pretty solid time 2-drop. Coin would be good too. Not really interested in these primal things. Twin Size fine and all, but we're just gonna go Blurry. Get that Blurry boy in here. Spitter's interesting. Another High Alert's very interesting. Now that we have Horn, Behemoth is great. So seems like a pretty easy Behemoth here. Sergeant, High Alert, Morlunk. Definitely not Temporal Adept. Probably not Razor Quill either. Sweet card, not as good anymore. And we're pretty much not in Shadow, although that's not a hard and fast thing this early, but I think we'll just grab a second High Alert. I'm never mad about High Alerts. None of this is that great. I suppose we take the Vorlunk though. Swirl is pretty darn good. I mean, certainly better than Missionary. Burden Bearer Wisp, what could that reset for us? Nothing really? Not super relevant. It may have an application in the future, we'll grab it for now. These shadow cards in the pool. Bloodright Callus, huh? Pretty certain I do not want that Bloodright Callus. I think I definitely do want this Wormstone, but Trailmaker is certainly very appealing. There's a lot of fixing, but I think it's going to go pretty quickly. I feel like people have figured out that prioritizing fixing is a good plan, because I haven't gotten a ton of it in my most recent drafts, where I got a lot in my first one in this format, so I feel like grabbing fixing here is a good plan. Wormstone's great, don't get me wrong. I just feel like Trailmaker probably is where we want to be here. We don't want Linebreaker, we don't want Knife, we don't want Sinsari. Bloodright Callus, not so much. And between Trailmaker and Bannerman, it's a pretty easy Trailmaker just because it can ramp us as well. Or rather, it does. Primal card's not super interesting. Baton, not very good. Daze is fine and all, but not a good first pick in a pack. So it's definitely between Trailmaker and Wormstone here. It's hard to pass a Wormstone, but I think we gotta go Trailmaker. Maverick's Familiar is pretty nice for ramp, and it's a flyer. Pretty good with Horn as well. Oathkeeper's interesting, but I think our Justice is gonna be the splash. By the looks, anyway. That certainly might change. Chunk Chunk is a very good card, but double primal, not splashable. Therefore, not a card for us, I would say. Gale Prowler, just not very good. Lens of Clarity, similarly not very good. Yeah, like all the top row is not that great. I mean, display is certainly very good, it's just that not great for us. Because I don't think we want to try to splash primal. I guess we could if we see a lot more fixing. I feel like it's just a pretty easy familiar here. Trailmaker's better than Wormstone? I think you're probably right about that, Potomaro. And how you doing tonight? Good to see you, man. Banner seems pretty great. Bodyguard, I feel like, is good, but has let me down more often than has been, like, very good. It blocks well, and it blocks in the air, but I feel like I want to be swinging with that, and most of the time when I want that, I don't have it. We have absolutely no armor generation whatsoever so far, so it seems like a bad pick. I think it's just Banner here. Gives us our splash, which is certainly very good. Barkeep's Friend, not good. Protector is huge, but also very expensive, so it doesn't seem great. Dark Return's awesome, but I just don't think we want to try to splash Shadow. I guess we could. I really like these high alerts, though. I think it's just Banner here. Chunk Chunk is a glorified murderous block. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, I think we're gonna go Banner here. Ooh, Bear Arms, huh? That's a good thing for a Justice Splash. If we find things that can spit out units, would be pretty sweet. I mean, it's a pretty good equipment in general. I mean, putting it on a flyer or like a behemoth seems pretty nice. Heartside Cyclops is a fine 4-drop, I suppose, which we are lacking. Kind of like the equipment here, though. Mighty Strike's kind of interesting, but we're pretty far away from Primal at this point. Not impossible that we could be ending up in Primal, I suppose. Kind of like the Bear Arms better, though. The rest of the pack is not super great. Javelin, I guess, is okay. It's pseudo removal in certain situations, but I love me some Bear Arms. Except it can't fly. This is true. This is true. And, you know, Murderous Flock doesn't stun anything, so that's also a relevant difference, but they are kind of similar. I suppose we could grab the Stone Scar banner in case we do Splash Shadow, which is going to make me sad that we don't have that Dark Return. Can't remember what we grabbed instead. I think it was maybe Avrix, which is still fine. Horn Grinder, just do not have any armor generation. Downfall is pretty bad. Like, this whole pack is relatively bad for us, so I think we just grab the banner in case we find Shadow we want to play. I don't think Gibbering Jackal's worthwhile for us. Stone Scar Stranger would help with the Shadow Splash if we end up with that. It's also just a 2-2 for 2, which is never a bad thing. Baton, just not that great. We don't have any kind of weapon synergy, and double Justice is not amazing for us. Seek Power is interesting too. This pack is pretty bad. Between Seek and Stranger, I would say. I guess the nice thing about Seek is it obviously, you know, grabs anything, where Stranger may not actually fix for something we want, because we may not end up in Shadow. So Seek seems like a safer pick here. And now we have a Rakano Stranger, which is actually very good for us. Machete's also super solid, and I really like the card. It's good on Behemoth, good on Dervish. But I do think that the Stranger is worthwhile here. Fixing on a body is a great thing to have. Oh, we have a Skycrack banner. I think we do want to stray away from Primal if we can help it. Linkwolf is a fine 2-drop. We may find more that are better. You want our units +2/+1 while you have it. 7 is just way too expensive. Just take Blinky here. Surveyor is fine. It pledges. It's a decent, aggressive 4-drop. Certainly better than Downfall. Of course, Scavenger is just way too expensive. Yeah, all those late picks were pretty bad. Conflagrate's solid. Our interaction is Swirl, and High Alert sort of is interaction, not really though. Trailmaker number 2 would be kind of nice, but I think Conflagrate's exactly what we want here. I love Thornbeast, but Shadow's looking less and less likely as we go through this draft. Feeding Time is sweet removal as well, but does not fit what we're trying to do. Forthorn Stranger. I think you can realistically get that to 5/5 in this format pretty easily, actually, but you gotta really focus on that, and we are not. Albatross is solid, but we're not Primal. I'm tempted to go with Mighty Strikes, but we have no Primal fixing aside from Seek Power. Crest of Vengeance, not really relevant. I think it's a pretty easy Conflagrate here. Just very, very good. Lioness, I suppose? It's 2/2 for 2 with upside. It's actually pretty solid. Cudgel's interesting. I mean, it does work with our twist stuff relatively well. But Justice is our splash. I think we have to set a pretty high bar for including Justice cards. We don't have an inordinate amount of fixing to make it just free. So we can't just dump a whole bunch in here. And I think Lioness is pretty solid, so we'll grab that. And so many Mighty Strikes have been passed to us, it's kind of ridiculous. It's actually kind of insane. Softfoot Burglar, we don't have a ton of spells, so I feel like that's not going to be great. We've also seen, I think, 3 Displays of Honor. So it seems like no one's going Fire Primal. I'm tempted to grab it in case we find fixing, but we're getting sort of deep into the fixing packs. And we have very limited fixing, so I think we want to try to shore up our fixing for what we currently have. The nice thing is we do have Combrei Banner and the Reconnaissance Ranger, which are both ways to get our off color, and Seek Power, so that's solid. I just feel like it's risky to add yet another off color at this late stage. That said, not really anything else is that appealing. Javelin, I suppose? Only because it's kind of interaction and we don't have hardly any. So that might have to be a driving factor here. I love Display, I just don't think that... Like, if we're going to splash something, it's got to be Mighty Strikes, I think. So... Since I don't really want to splash Primal, I think we're just going to go Javelin. Detain is sort of interesting. I think maybe slightly less good than it was in the previous format. That's a cool looking shiny Fallen Oni. I don't think we want to play that. Could just take a second Blinky. We're relatively low on units at the moment. And we do need cheap units to make Bear Arms better. That kind of tells me we want Blinkwolf, but the interaction from Detain is kind of nice. Hopefully we'll just find better interaction. Like if we find a lucky, why am I blanking? Retribution in the final pack, we would be very, very happy to have that. Probably more so than Detain, so let's go Blinky here. Another Display and another Mighty Strikes. Hot damn, that's a lot of those. And we have picked none of them. If we were in Skycrack, we'd be swimming in Mighty Strikes, which would be phenomenal, but we are decidedly not. And again, we're getting so late in the fixing packs, I just feel like it's just a smidge late to be grabbing those things. I mean, it's certainly possible we end up with, you know, Bannerman maybe? Or is Bannerman in the... Bannerman's in the curated packs, isn't he? Excuse from Defiance, I believe. I was gonna say in the last pack if we find a Bannerman would be in good shape, but I believe that that's not a possibility because I think he's just in the curated. So Sorcerer, not great since we only have 5 spells and we may not end up with that many more. This pack is decidedly bad for us. Core Scavenger is just not good. We definitely do not want Reinforce. Excuse me. I guess we'll take the Mighty Strikes. I highly, highly doubt we're gonna play it. Maybe Display is better to grab if we're gonna be possibly trying to force that splash. We do have 2 sources for Primal, which maybe is enough for 1 card. Nice thing about Mighty Strikes is it scales pretty well. The lifesteal on this is super relevant. We're not drawing any weapons from the void. Transforming can be pretty good. I think we'll go Mighty though. That said, I really do think that neither one will be played in our deck. Second Bear Arms seems better than all these other things. None of these are actually fixing for what we need them to fix for. Except for Elysian Banner, that actually might let us play Mighty Strikes. So the question becomes, is the second Bear Arms better than possibly making it harder on ourselves by adding a 4th color? And I think the answer is yes. So we'll go with that Bear Arms. Oh boy. I guess Token gives us that outside chance of splashing if we really want to. Still don't think we want to, but it's there, I think. Take the Blinky number 3 here. Many Blinkies. Oh, Maddening Whisper is exactly everything we want here. Very nice. Jump Kick can go in the... I was gonna say market, but that's not a market at all. That's the pool. Praxis Stranger is just lovely. Absolutely lovely. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in the pool as well. It's not gonna be played. Second Horn of Plenty maybe is the best possible thing we could open here, aside from like a Heretic's Cannon? Or maybe like another Eclipse Dragon would have been sweet. Daring Maneuver is very nice. Erictodon's pretty sweet. Tremor Shocker, I think not that great in our deck. It is a reasonable top end, but we kind of want to go wide here. We have a billion 2-drops, so Bear Arms are going to be pretty nice. And Horn of Plenty feeds into that as well. So I think that Horn of Plenty number 2 is probably the best pick. Oh man, Dervish and Pyromage? And another Horn. That seems ambitious, I gotta say. A 3rd Horn, I mean, it's probably never too many horns, right? But I think probably finding another cheap unit is pretty great here. Dervish I love, but Pyromage can give us some card advantage, which is very, very relevant for a deck like this. Just in draft in general, card advantage is great. Although I think that Pyromage is probably decidedly less good in draft than it is in constructed, where you can kind of pack your deck with a lot more cheap stuff. I feel like it's hard to actually pull off playing the thing that you reduce the cost of. Like if we hit an Eclipse Dragon on turn 3, we're going to be very sad. It's also worth noting we have many 2-drops. One of which I think we won't play in the Burdenbearer Wisp, but maybe that leans us toward the Dervish. We kind of want to beef things up a little bit. I think I've talked myself into it. Even though I love that 2-drop. Well, that is a 3rd Horn of Plenty in a row. I think maybe that's a sign we should take this one. That'll be 3 in this deck, which is not a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. Rune's Guide's fine, but we don't have any shift, I believe. Yeah, not a single shift, so Horn of Plenty much better, I think. Says the guy who just drew shift. Or open shift, whatever you call that. I do think this is worthwhile. It's big, but it only costs 4 most of the time. In a pinch late in the game, you just play it, but playing it on turn 4 is phenomenal. I mean, it's a vanilla 6/6, right? But unblockable for 1 turn, getting it for 6 is very, very nice. Outdraw, I think, is just strictly worse. It is technically interaction, but it's very expensive. Paladin, we just don't want an early Justice thing. I mean, yeah, I get it. Bear Arms is early, but it's a light splash. We'll be fine. We want to minimize it as much as possible. And this is a pretty decent late game draw. I guess this is, yeah, this is decidedly less good as a late game draw. It's gotta be Shocker here. That's a withstand. We have hardly any shifts, so the Expedition Leader's pretty bad. Duelist is nice and all, but yeah, I get it, it's double justice. I see your point, but it's a withstand. And I think we can get away with it. Will we sometimes draw it and we don't have double justice? Most likely, yes. I will say though, we only have double time from Vorlunk, which we may not even play, and then also double fire from Dragon. I guess double time and double fire. So we do have double of everything, right? But it is all late, except for Vorlunk, which again, we may not necessarily play. Probably will, just because we're kind of low on units. I suppose we also have double time here. We're gonna go ahead and put Mighty Strikes in the pool here. Maybe Duelist is a better choice. We have so many 2-drop units as it is, though. I feel like this is just going to be much higher upside for us. Suvarius Longbow. I don't think, aside from Blurry Chaser, we have any scout, really? Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, sometimes you want this to stick on whatever unit. Is it time to grab this outdraw? Or do we just go Duelist and lean into our triple Horn of Plenty plan? Probably gonna go with that, I think. Horn, it's a sign? Yeah. Yeah, all those horns, I think, definitely were a sign. And I'm certainly happy to have many, many horns. It's never a bad thing. Maneuver or Crasher? If we take Crasher, it's our second 4-drop. I don't think we need that many more units, to be honest. I think Burden Bear probably will be out, although with a Horn of Plenty or two, it's a really good flyer, and like the onslaught value is not there, I think. Like, I don't really... maybe Vorlunk is like the one thing that's actually worth resetting for us. Aside from that, I don't think we have much in the way of like actual value from the onslaught, but a 1/3 flyer for 2 is really not that bad, and if it continues growing with this or with a Bear Arms, it's going to be pretty solid. So actually, I think I've convinced myself that I like that card in this deck. Taking the maneuver here gives us another trick, which is never a bad thing. And Crasher's just kind of middling, I think. And we really just want to be aggressive. We just have a really, really low to the ground curve. We want to top out with the horns and just keep slamming those and some tricks. And maneuver is one of those tricks. Spitter's pretty bad. Put it in the pool. Lookout. Really don't want an early game Justice card, because our fixing isn't amazing. We have Stranger, Seek Power, Combrade Banner, and that's it. So it's a little thin on the fixing. We currently have, I think, 5 cards? Yeah. So I think we want to minimize that. So for that reason, we'll grab this Sergeant. May get cut, but I think it's probably the right call there. Stampede in the pool. Scrying definitely in the pool. Alright. Well, it's a shame we didn't get something like a cannon to really be like the big punch, but I think that this deck is pretty reasonable. After cutting that phase out, I like all the spells we have. Javelin maybe is on the chopping block here. Banner and Token can go. Currently at 33, so we need to make at least 5 cuts. I think 5 cuts is probably appropriate here. 17 power seems plenty. Considering we have 2 pieces of unit ramp, we have a top end of pretty much 4. We've got 3 5-drops, so we may not play Sergeant. In fact, I think that's probably the main unit that's on the chopping block here. And then the horn. So I guess we do have quite a few 5-drops. I'll give you that. But I mean 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 2-drops. And a couple pieces of ramp as well, as I mentioned earlier. So I feel like we'll be fine. We also have Seek. So going 17 with a seek power is essentially 18, as it is. I feel like that's plenty. And I do think with the tricks, even though we just have Maddening Whisper and Conflagrate in terms of, and I guess Swirl in terms of actual interaction, I feel like cutting the Javelin is pretty reasonable here. Hey, what's going on, Mercurio? This deck is doing the stuff and the things. Hopefully we do the winning stuff and things. Keep in mind, Withstand is double justice. It is, yes. That is certainly true. I think that because it's a 5-drop though, it's fine to have that. You know, you never love having a double pip on a splash color, but I think because it's so good, it's probably worth it. And it certainly is good. Need like 5 to 7 sources to play it? I don't know about that. I mean, we have Seek, and we have Stranger. We currently have 3 total sources before we even put any sigils in the deck, so, and we'll probably end up with like 1 or 2. I think that's fine. We need at least 1 so we can seek for it. So that would be 4 sources, technically. Right off the bat. I feel like 5 sources is probably plenty, yeah. So yeah, I guess you're right. 5 to 7 sources seems fine, yeah. Wouldn't play it with less than 5. Yeah, you're probably right. And I think 2 Justice Sigils is probably exactly where we want to be. Because that would be, what, 6 sources, right? 1, 2, 3... 4, 5. I guess that would be 5 if we had 2 sigils. For 5 cards, that seems plenty. And yeah, I mean, it's a double pip. We may get stuck with it occasionally, but I think it's okay. We actually have this Trailmaker too, so that's another source. That's actually 6 if we end up with 2, so that's great. I feel like that is plenty. This Forlunk is telling me that we should cut him. He just whispered in my ear, "Cut me." I think he's right. I think he needs to be cut. I feel like Sergeant maybe also needs to be out of here. Like, these 2 5-drops are just, I think, immensely better. It's fine, right? I mean, a 7/4 is pretty scary, but it's not all that difficult to block. Where these 2 have evasion that make them much more difficult to deal with. We don't have a way to give it evasion, except for, I guess, Daring Maneuver. That seems like too much of a narrow combo to really justify. And this will cut down on our 5-drops, which I think is something we should desire. I think that having 17 units does give us diminishing returns on these Bear Arms. Maybe we cut 1 Bear Arms. That will give us 4 Justice cards. Don't get me wrong, Bear Arms is really good with all these 2-drops, so maybe we should keep it. Currently at 31, we need to make at least 3 cuts. I really don't think we should cut any more units. So I think Javelin should go. And I don't want to cut any more spells either. So we need to make 2 cuts. Not involving units and spells means both Bear Arms, potentially. And maybe that's fine. I mean, I like Bear Arms. It would be sweet and kind of the dream scenario to put it on a Burden Bearer Wisp and just slam a bunch of 2-drops. Will that happen? Maybe? Probably not. If we cut 1 Bear Arms, it's going to be significantly less chance of that happening. We have exactly 3 flyers to put that on. So I mean, that in and of itself means it's not super likely. We certainly cannot get away with 15 power in this deck. It's way too few power. We do top out at 5. This is pretty much not to be considered a 6-drop in my book. I'm happy we got rid of the double time on turn 3. We do have it on turn 4, but usually you want to wait until 6 for this to get rid of 2 things temporarily anyway. Could consider maybe cutting Swirl, but it's very strong, so I don't really want to. I suppose Withstand could be on the chopping block, but it's just so good. I feel like cutting 1 Bear Arms is better than cutting a Withstand. So that means 1 more cut. And honestly, I'm not sure what it is. It could be Horn, but having 3 is just amazing. Especially with like Lioness, if we end up with this super late and we already have Horns out, it's just going to be disgustingly good. we cut maybe like a Blinky or something, it ends up with 16 units. That's just really way too few, I think, for bear arms. So maybe we do just cut the bear arms and just rely on these horns. Bear arms is sweet and all, but I guess if our Justice is exactly 2 high alerts and a withstand, you know, only necessary by turn 4, it's going to be much easier to handle, I think. As much as I love bear arms, we don't have crazy synergy with it. Like, we don't have anything that really creates units aside from the Lioness, so I think that's maybe a little too thin. And again, triple horn with all these 2-drops is super good, so I feel like this is probably a little bit better. Puts less pressure on our splash color. I feel better about that. And that will be 17 power as well. 4 Justice Sigils is too many. I think 2 is perfectly fine. Just go 7-7. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fire sources for 12 cards. 7, 8, 9, 10, technically 11. Since we need double, I guess we can count Trailmaker, even though, yes, we do need time to be able to get it. So, what was that, 11 or 12, something like that? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? 11? Maybe call it like 10 and a half, it's still pretty good for 10. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's plenty for 3 cards for Justice. Even though we do need double, I think that's still plenty. So I think I feel good about this. I mean, this hand has the things. I think it's keepable. Yeah, we will pray for the luck. Thank you, G-Brum. Appreciate the good luck. Hopefully, we will pull this out. Those are not super scary. It's decent. +1/+1 when you play a spell. Okay. That actually does kind of look a bit scary here. We harvest on spirit. It's gonna make blocking tricky because they almost definitely have tricks. Okay, Char is pretty good. Get in for 4. Yeah, I don't love it. This Behemoth is gonna be great though. I would prefer to play this Trailmaker, but this Blinky on top is calling my name. So we probably should answer that call. I mean, they definitely have a trick, right? But we have to try. Probably daring maneuver. Oh, bottoms up. I mean, alright. It gives them spells for the next couple turns. Not good to be seen here. Ooh, that's great. Alright, alright, alright. Well, we've got Trailmaker. This influence selection does not matter in any way, so Cheeky Shadow. Play the Blink Wolf. Well, I like the new cut on Trailmaker. It's nice. Huh. Oh my goodness. This guy's got it all. Alright. Well. Yeah, I think it's taking its time. I was considering holding up the Maddening Whisper here. But this guy will block really well. Opponents on 1-drop aggro plan, they surely seem to be. I find it hard to believe they can make this big enough. It's possible. I guess another bottoms up would be good enough to do it. Or not. That's good. Seems like maybe the Trove should have been played before, but maybe they're trying to bluff us with a having of a trick. We did not bite. And I think it's appropriate to just be twisting here. Getting some of that lost life back, and we'll just get in with the 6. These are not super concerning. Mining team is fine. Opponent doing nothing is more than fine. It's actually incredible. They don't have an answer to this. They certainly don't have an answer to this.
Bring it on!
We're just getting with those 3. Put them down to 7. We can Maddening Whisper if we're gonna die. Seems unlikely that they can take all this damage. Also seems unlikely that we'll die as a result, and there we go. Well, it was looking very scary at first, but we found a way to turn it around. That behemoth was huge. All we need is 1 time source, and this hand's amazing. So I think it's fine to keep. It's a risk, certainly. But with 3 2-drops, and the potential for Horn coming down on 5, like, all we need to do is draw 1 time source. Very unfortunate this is on top here. It always happens, right? Always when you can't do it. That's just how it goes. God damn, that looks cool. I've been using this Eternal Throne avatar since it was released in the Founders Package or whatever, I think. But I think this guy will maybe be the one that finally swaps me off of it. At least for some amount of time. I do love this little sword. Thorn Beast. Interesting, okay. There is the time sigil. Perfect. So we're gonna take some damage here. But next turn we get to play double Blink Wolf, and then we can Horn of Plenty to follow up, so it's pretty much a race at this point, by the looks. Yeah, that's fine, I suppose. You don't love to see it, but nothing we can do. Ooh, Dervish is nice. Dervish will be nice after the Horn. All kinds of blinkies. Blinky Tribal. And we're not blocking. We are certainly intending to race here. Which I think is a race we can win. We pretty much just even up the race right there in one fell swoop.
One shot.
Repeater we can silence. Big guy we can also silence. Duelist is pretty nice.
We ride. Move aside.
So they could trade here. Still 9 damage. Yeah. Putting them to 6. And then next turn we just need 2 things to get in. And we have 4 attackers. So they're gonna need 2 blockers at least. Or some kind of lifesteal situation. And they don't. Nice. This is actually pretty good. Obviously we're a long way from withstand. Not super concerning at the moment. Would love to find a 2-drop this turn exactly. Power is also welcome. Specifically Justice would be great. Time would also be welcome. Justice is great. Let's play Time so we don't mess up playing the Familiar next turn. Familiar gives us Horn on turn 4, which is beautiful.
Pity would weaken us.
Pity would weaken us. Indeed. Well, there's our second whatever influence we need. We're gonna hold this until we know. The single most tilting thing about Eternal, for me anyway, is Seek Power. More than drawing poorly, more than getting flooded, Seek Power, picking the wrong influence and then only ever drawing that influence, happens to me more often than I can describe. Would like for it not to happen here. Considering we have Double Justice in hand, seems reasonable to grab that. Not impossible to think we could end up needing the double time though. Well, there it is. Haha! Well, it turns out we did not need to worry about it, but we got there. Right, so I think it's still Horn. It gives us blocks here. And I think we should hold until we can start getting these things down. Withstand on this flyer is going to be delicious. Maybe we should have swung, because we weren't. We should have blocked. I thought about it and I was like, I don't want to risk they have a trick, so we definitely should have swung. So that was 2 points of missed damage there. That's on me. Okay, so let's do this. Get our Justice. We're not going to play Withstand yet, I think. Or do we? Nah, I think we do this and this. And we will just swing with everything at this point. Race mode engaged. We have blocks on everything. Next turn we'll stand on the flyer and just swing with everything is going to be great. We can even exhaust something if we want. Looking pretty good, I gotta say. This is right where we want to be. Cudgel. Alright, well I mean we'll take that 4 if you're offering. I have a feeling we're going to win this race, if that's your plan. Specifically because we got this, and I think that may even prompt the scoop.
Move aside.
This is many damages. 14 to be exact, putting them to 5. Considering we have 6 in the air, they're gonna have something pretty damn good here. Could be Retribution, maybe? Boot Knife, not gonna do it. Retribution now off the table. Killing themselves, I like it. We have a Justice Source, we have 3 2-drops. This is a keep. We are in need of an additional Justice and Time Source. Not for a while though. The cutting of the Borlunk, I think, was maybe one of the better decisions we made in the deck building phase. Daring Maneuver is a fine draw. Not stellar, but perfectly fine. Hey, Banana Skunk with the biddies! Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that. How you doing tonight? Yeah, we're gonna wait to amplify that, I believe. So let's go ahead and get this down. Conscript, not shifted. Makes sense. That is gonna mean that it's gonna die, which is good. Unfortunate we have this Blink Wolf on top. That said, we have many things to do. We can just play it next turn anyway. I would love to warp it, but I want to save... Alright, I want to kill this, rather, and Daring Maneuver will achieve that. Okay, well, change of plan. We're going to go ahead and shift that, or warp it. Whatever. It's a thing, it's an ability, and we're doing it. Itty bitties, that's right. Thank you so much. Doing fine? Nice, glad to hear it. Seems like you're figuring out draft pretty well. Yeah, this deck is looking really good. I don't know if this is necessarily an indicator, but this deck is certainly solid, I'll give you that. I'm sure I'll find some way to mess it up though. That's kind of my main thing, is finding a way to screw it up. Yeah, we'll just slam our things. We could potentially wait until turn 6 for this. Worst case, we'll just do it next turn though. If we draw power exactly next turn, we're gonna hold off on minus. If it's justice, it's a dream situation because we can withstand. We are not gonna double block. We're in a firm race situation, which is kind of the theme of this deck. We've just been all races all night. Except for the first game, I guess. That wasn't really a race. We just got really good draws. Alright. I think it's Linus time. We'll amplify. Get in with all the dudes. They have some sort of interaction. Char seems likely. Or maybe Streets. Oh, Strike, sure. I mean, it's kind of pitiful on a 2-2, to be honest. I think necessary, but kind of pitiful and all the same. Makes me happy that we haven't spent our daring maneuver. We have 9 damage on board. Horn of Plenty would be great. This is also pretty great. With the daring maneuver, even if they have another strike, which seems like they do, I think that we have this one. 3, 4, and 8 is 12. Well, just for good measure, I think we'll go ahead and do this. They have something. What is it? Okay, very confused, but a win's a win, right? These hands have all been good. We just get Justice with this. We need one more for Withstand someday. Drawing a Horn of Plenty in the near future would just be phenomenal. So we have Horn of Plenty power now. We just need to actually draw the thing. We have 3 of them. Seems very likely we will draw at least one. Okay. Oh, double Dervish is great. Alright, you give us Justice. We are obviously not blocking. Dervish coming down next turn. Probably gonna trade with a stranger. There's the horn. That is beautiful. Ooh. Okay. You know, we lose out on the amplify value, but I think warping and playing this is actually still pretty good. This is on turn 3, and a turn 4 horn into double Dervish seems pretty tough to beat. Yeah, we'll just keep taking damage here. I don't really care. Pyro Mage, can you please whiff? Would love it if you whiffed on that. No, not gonna whiff. Alright. Still pretty fine though. It's another horn, y'all. Getting pretty horny up in here. Yeah, I think we gotta go for the race here. We are behind, there's no doubt, but another horn is gonna do some work, and if they're trading, that's completely fine. I feel like as a streamer you can't be superstitious. With all the crap your viewers would say at times, yeah, it'd be pretty rough anyway, not saying anything either. True. This is true. Tremor Shocker. Okay. Well, now the horn is not looking as good. We actually do want to wait until this can just be played, so we'll go ahead and play Dervish. I think we have to. It's a scary situation. It's a precarious little cliff we're hanging off of, but it's possible.
We survived.
Like those purple wings? Hey, what's going on, chicken fingers? How you doing tonight? Good to see you, my friends. Oh boy, that's not great. Yeah, I love this avatar. This is one of the newer ones that they came out with. That's a great draw. Let's go ahead and play that. So the only risk is the 1/1. And we have an answer. Would love drawing another power here. I think Dervish. Go ahead and exhaust this fool.
Move aside.
And if they want to trade for a 2/2, perfectly acceptable. Yep. Drawing power lets us kill both these things, and then we can just freely swing in. That's also semi-acceptable. I think we just play our second horn and pass. What it do, baby? What it do? Heretics cannon. Well, I don't appreciate that at all. Alright, fine. You insist. Oh, Behemoth. Thank you for coming. I very much appreciate that. With 2 extra twists, phenomenal.
I'll move anything for a price.
Drawing power here, best thing we could possibly have. Yo, has Tony been on stream? Tony has indeed been on stream. Maybe we can get him on stream in a minute here. He doesn't often, but when Wifey brings him up, he gets his time to shine, you know? Let's see what we got going on here. Gotta be honest, I can't argue with another horn. I'm finding it hard to argue with that. And at this point, it's almost like we just kill this and then get in. The stream needs 24/7 Tony. Tony cam, like that would take it from a 10 to an 11. Wow. Well, I'm glad that you find it to be a 10 without Tony, because I think you're right. Adding Tony cam just makes it an 11, right? Okay, sure. If that's really what you want to be doing, I mean, we're just gonna gain that life right back. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Mitigate a bit of risk here. Put him down to 3, force him not to be able to block. Find it hard to believe if we lose from here. I definitely do want to figure out how to do some kind of pet cam type of situation. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, I just don't know how exactly. I'm assuming there's some kind of wireless technology available for just such a situation. And we've just won that game. This hand's great. I would like to not have to pledge Surveyor, and I think we can get away with not doing it. It may make sense to do it, considering we could not draw power. We do have 1 extra draw. If we draw power off the top, we're certainly not pledging Surveyor. It makes no sense. Oh, that's not fast enough. What's up, Massive? How you doing tonight? You're on the edge of your seat? Hey, it's worth it. Okay, we actually, since we drew the Eclipse Dragon, I think it is Surveyor Pledge type of situation. Puts us 1 step closer. We just need 1 power drawn to get the Eclipse Dragon down on turn 5, and that is certainly what we want to be doing. Okay, well, we drew a power there. That does give us exactly Eclipse Dragon on the old turn 5 here. No ramp to get us there early, but that's really not an issue. Next turn, we're gonna twist this once and play Blinky, I'm assuming. Makes the most sense since we can amplify this on the following turn. Dishiest Crib. Interesting name. His crib's not just dishy, it's the dishiest. Always good, solid draft going, I see. Yes. So far, it has been quite stellar, I must say. We are just a casual 2 wins from the old 7-0, of which I have 2 in the entirety of my Eternal career. But now that I've said it, I've certainly jinxed it. I think it's pronounced douchiest. It's close. I could see how you could get there. Alright, Blinky it is. Give it the old twisteroni here. Conflagrate's fantastic. We are in need of one more Justice Source, but that's fine. Not really a concern at the moment. Fend off. Okay. I mean, whatever. Not super concerned about that either. So next turn we got the Lioness coming down. We can get in for 3. Heist? Okay. I feel like Heist was already bad and now it's worse since we don't have the 3-drop 3/3 dudes. They get better when they're bigger. Yes, I want to touch Matty. I love it. You guys are cracking me up. Alright, we're gonna amplify this guy. Yes, continue. Get in. The trade here's fine. I mean, just whatever, man. We're so far removed from being concerned about that. Considering we have Eclipse Dragon coming down, we have Conflagrate, we have Withstand eventually, and they're really not doing a whole lot on board at the moment. Okay, Heist on Medicine's actually pretty good, I'll give you that. This is our second Justice Source, but we are not doing that yet, because we're going to be playing this. And just swinging with that, because we can't really afford to throw these guys into it at the moment. Perfectly happy to double block here if they offer. I'm doubting the offer is going to be there, but we'll see. Seems very unlikely they swing here. They might twist to draw a card, that would make sense. They are swinging. You know, I think we just take it. We could double block, but I mean, why? Why do it? Why do it?
This will do the trick.
Well, that's a lot of damage. And we actually have, I was gonna say lethal in the air, but it's not +5/+5. It's not quite there. Finding it difficult to believe we lose from here. That's a suspect swing, I gotta say. Yeah, let's just go ahead and kill this while we got the chance. Just to show him our might. We could have twisted here, should have, doesn't matter. We had an abundance of damage there. This is actually the worst hand we've had all night with this hand, or with this deck. We are gonna have to redraw. This hand's also not phenomenal, but honestly, I mean, a 2-drop into a 3-drop with the potential for a Corrupted Behemoth seems pretty alright. Blinkwolf on top is acceptable. It's not great seeing it on top on turn 1 when you cannot actually warp it, but just the fact that it's there is encouraging. So, if we play Burdenberry Wisp, it's a blocker for this, but if we play Blinkwolf, they may be enticed to give it the old Twisteroni here. And then we play the Burdenberry Wisp and lock that down, and I think I like that ever so slightly better. Oh, you're on PC now? Okay. Yeah, maybe that'll help.
We must rise up!
Okay, they do nothing, sort of. I mean, that's not nothing, but not the situation we were describing. We also cannot play and twist this. If they really want to trade here, that's probably fine, though. Let's just do it. Get in there. If they really want to trade here, it's perfectly fine. Trading there, also perfectly fine. Trading both, still completely fine. Drawing power would be great because we can Wisp next turn and then play Behemoth. That will be getting swirled. Ooh, boy, I really want to play that on turn 5. I think we're just going to swirl now. I don't want them to be able to twist that and get a sigil. Hopefully they're actually stuck on power. Okay, they're not. Still, I think, good to get rid of that.
Trash from the battlefield.
Withstand is exactly the opposite of what we wanted to draw here. We're in fine shape. I mean, we need a power. We need one power, and we're glorious. Not a power, still a good draw. We're not blocking, so might as well get the 1 point in. If they swing, opens this up to swing 5. Camped position is a little obnoxious. Stained Honor, similarly slightly obnoxious. We are going to swing both because we have maneuver now. Yeah, sure. Obviously not the thing we necessarily wanted to trade for, but... or not trade for, to kill, but... it is a thing that could have killed this, so it's fine to get out of here. Another Humbug, okay. Trailmaker, thank you. That's exactly what we wanted. No, we're not gonna swing there. I think we can swing this. If they want to trade for the flyer, it's fine. If they want to jump, it's fine. Or if they want to take the damage, it's also fine. We are gonna take damage here. We need this to live. That's the only thing we're concerned about. Horn of Plenty's horrific. I really wish they did not have that. We need our own Horn of Plenty. Just for 4? Seems odd. Okay. Now we drop Banner. That's phenomenal. Piler on top is also really good. Actually kind of puts us in a weird spot. I almost think we just pass and we can high alert to kill a thing. Wait. Ooh, Eclipse Dragon lets us high alert too. Hell yes. Never mind. Wow, this is a really good turn. So getting in for 4. And then we have high alert because of the power we get from here. Super good. I don't think we want to use this to block unless it's on this. So we'll most likely high alert on this guy potentially, or maybe here. Because it might be a little risky if they have some kind of trick. They only have 2 cards in hand, so, you know, it's a lower chance than normal. But I mean, we have 2 tricks with 2 cards in hand, so there you go. Pack Hunt. Gross. Okay. Alright, well, seems like they've nutted their hand here, so we're going to go ahead and high alert on this. Block that. Trailmaker I think is fine for chumping purposes. Chump here. Well, so we could trade, but I mean, we want to kill him on the crackback, right? I mean, obviously we do. So... yeah, chump here, that makes 12. I think another chump is in order. Take 8. Cannibal Elite. Okay.
This'll sting a bit.
Stranger, not amazing. I think so. If we withstand here, we'll have 2 blockers. We can block, but then we take 6. So we need to add more to the board here, which means Behemoth. And pass. And then we can start twisting this to hopefully not die. They may have found the trick. If they found the trick, they did. There's nothing we can do about that. Looks like maybe not. They have exactly Char? No, okay, good. That is a lot of humbugs, bro. Where's your PC too? Oh my goodness. The stream is just so good, your PC can't even handle it. Amazing. Let's see. I think we play Stranger, hold everything we can withstand, because this gives us power. We actually can Maddening Whisper on 2 things. Alright, withstand instead. I think makes the most sense. Guns blazing. Okay. That changes exactly nothing, but sure. Oh, I should have played the power so we could bounce both, but it does not matter. That has endurance, so we'll just get in there. Yeah, certainly should have played the power first so we could bounce both. Not really the end of the world though. Rampager's fine. Wisp is fine. We win the game. Oh my god. We got the 7-0.